Hello and a warm welcome to our show, Love Athletics. In this program, we bring you the latest highlights from our sport with expert input from different continental areas. And today we conclude our wrap-ups of the fabulous World Championships in Tokyo, and we'll be focusing on superlatives, surprises and emotions. Now, of course, the first superlative is the barrier-breaking pole vault world records of 6 meters 30 set by Mondo Duplantis, his fourth this year. 6:27 indoors in Clermont-Ferrand in February, 6:28 at home in Stockholm in June, 6:29 in Budapest in August, and finally the 6:30 in September in Tokyo. Amazing Mondo. That of course was also a European record, and there were 8 other area records during the 9 days of the competition, with NACAC setting the lion's share of 4 of them. Here they are. So Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone chose this year to leave her specialist event, the 400 hurdles, and to focus instead of the flat, and her performance in Tokyo was impressive, as she propelled herself to number 2 in the all-time list with 47.78, coming within striking distance of the world record held by Marita Koch with 47.60 since 1985. There were NACAC records in the hammer throw by 2 Canadians who both repeated their triumphs from Budapest 2023. Ethan Katzberg took the men's contest with 84 meters 70 to sign the best performance of the last 20 years and moved to number 5 in the all-time lists. His compatriot Cameron Rogers was also amazing. Her throw of 80 meters 51 takes her to number 2 in the all-time list, behind legendary pole Anita Włodarczyk, triple Olympic champion and quadruple world champion, who trusts the top 6 marks. The final NACAC record came on the last day of the championships from Mexico's Alegna Gonzalez in the 20 kilometers racewalk. After winning the 35 kilometers racewalk, Spain's Maria Perez had indicated the Mexican as the favorite for the shorter distance, and Gonzalez did indeed prove to be her toughest adversary, claiming silver in 1 hour 26:06, just 12 seconds behind the Spanish star. Let's move now to South America. Panama's Jana Woodruff clocked an excellent 52.66 in the semis of the 400 hurdles, improving her own continental best and moving to number 14 in the all-time list. Unfortunately, Woodruff did not repeat her performance in the final, where she placed 5th with 53.34. Oceanian athletes set 2 area records in Tokyo. In the women's 800 meters semi-finals, Australia's Jessica Hull clocked 1:57.15 to improve the Oceania record set by her compatriot Claudia Hollingsworth in Silesia mid-August. And Hull again dipped below that previous mark in the final with 1:57.30. Hull now boasts 7 continental records in distances ranging from the 800 meters to the 3000, with her area record over the 2000 meters being also a world record. The other Oceania record came from New Zealand's Hamish Kerr in the high jump. His winning mark of 2 meters 36 equals, in fact, the Oceania record, which was first set by Australia's Tim Forsyth in 1997. And interestingly, Kerr has equalled it 3 times in the last 2 years, to win the World Indoors last year the Paris Olympics, and now the Tokyo World Championships. Talk about peaking when it matters most. The last area record was set by South Africa in the mixed 4x400 meter relay with 3 minutes 11.16, but the mark is worth less than 1,200 points result score, so sorry, no screen. In addition to the world records and 9 area records, there were also 9 championships records set in Tokyo, 3 among the men, 5 among the women, and the mixed mile relay. So Emmanuel Wagnoni's 1:41.86, Mondo Duplantis, of course, Ethan Katzberg. Among the women, Melissa Jefferson 10.61 in the 100 meters, Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, Lilian Odira's 1:54.62 in the 800, Faith Cherotic with her 8:51.59 in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, the US female mile relay with Isabella Whitaker, Lynn Irby Jackson, Aaliyah Butler, and Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone. Plus, as we said, the mixed relay of the US with Bryce Dedmond, Lynn Irby Jackson, Genoa McIver, and Alexis Holmes. Now I'd like to talk about special performances, starting with the multi-medalist. 8 athletes won more than 1 medal in Tokyo, including 3 amazing ladies who took double golds. Let's look at all of them. So among the men, Caio Bonfim of Brazil had 20 kilometers race walk gold after earning silver in the longer distance, the 45K. Noah Lyles earned his 4th 200 meters title after coming 3rd in the 100 meters. Plus, of course, he has a gold in the sprint relay. Francis Jimmy Gressier took gold in the 10,000 meters and later confirmed his newfound status to take also bronze in the 5,000 meters. Among the women, as we said, 3 athletes went back home with 2 crowns. Melissa Jefferson Wooden, gold in the 100 and 200 and also in the sprint relay. Beatrice Chebet, golds in the 5 and 10,000, and Spain's Maria Perez with 2 golds over the race walk in 35K and 20K. Now, Melissa Jefferson Wooden was the most dominant athlete in Tokyo, and her dominance throughout the year was impressive, starting with Grand Slam track meets in April to June, where she lost only 1 race, but secured the short sprints slam in all 3 legs of the series. Her defeat at the 200 meters in Miramar on 31st May was her last. After that, Jefferson Wooden won every single one of the 17 races in which she competed, including heats and finals, dominating the Silesia and Brussels Diamond League meets before her Tokyo triumph. Beatrice Chebet is another athlete who really blossomed in the last 2 years, taking 5,000 and 10,000 golds at both the Paris Olympics last year and now the Tokyo World Championships, and setting barrier-breaking world records over both distances on the track, as well as a 5 kilometers road race world record. And finally, Maria Perez, the Spanish walker, repeated her double triumph from Budapest. Now, Spanish journalist José Luis López has a very interesting analysis, not only of Maria's current triumphs, but also tells us about the crisis and changes that forged her into the dominant athlete she is now. Let's hear what Luis tells us.
Hola, soy José Luis López, narrador de atletismo en radio y televisión. María Pérez se ha convertido en Tokio en la mejor marchadora de todos los tiempos. con la repetición de las 2 medallas de oro del Mundial de Budapest 2023. Es la única atleta femenina que ha repetido 2 oros en las mismas pruebas en 2 mundiales consecutivos. Esto solo lo han conseguido 3 hombres: Carl Lewis, Mo Farah y Usain Bolt. María, de 29 años, es un ejemplo de atleta luchadora que ha sabido superar los peores momentos. Aunque ya fue campeona de Europa de 20 kilómetros marcha en 2018, en 2022 María vivió el peor año de su carrera deportiva, al ser descalificada tanto en el Mundial de Oregón como en el Europeo de Múnich. Tocó fondo. Los problemas técnicos, unidos a problemas personales, urgían resetear al atleta antes de que abandonara. Se pidió ayuda técnica a un experto entrenador, Josep Marín, se consultó con jueces de atletismo para ver dónde estaban los problemas técnicos y se trabajó la parte psicológica. Un supertalento como María Pérez no se podía perder. Y la recuperación fue espectacular. Doble campeona mundial en Budapest en 2023, plusmarquista mundial de 35 kilómetros y campeona olímpica en París 2024 con el relevo mixto. Se trataba sobre todo de un problema de estilo. El suyo era de fuerza, agresivo, con exceso de energía por toda la cadena anterior, que hacían más evidentes los tiempos de vuelo. Corrigió la actitud corporal, desplazó un poco más adelante el centro de gravedad, mejoró la dorsiflexión del pie, encontró la amplitud de paso óptima y fue más eficiente, transitando el pie de forma menos brusca al contactar. En la preparación de María Pérez este año han sido fundamentales 2 recursos: el entrenamiento en altitud por una parte y en la cámara de calor por otra. Ha hecho 3 concentraciones de altitud: en Sierra Nevada, en España, preparatoria y extensiva, y luego en Livigno, en Italia, con su querida amiga Antonella Palmisano durante 2 semanas, y en Font-Romeu, en Francia, durante 3 semanas, ambas a 1800 metros de altitud. El volumen de kilómetros ha llegado a 138, 140 aproximadamente kilómetros por semana. El trabajo en la cámara de calor sobre tapiz rodante se ha realizado tanto en Font-Romeu como en el Centro de Alto Rendimiento, el CAR de Sant Cugat, en Barcelona, con un entrenamiento muy individualizado con el que ha mejorado mucho el rendimiento. Se trataba de 2 a 3 sesiones a la semana a 30 a 32 grados de temperatura y una humedad del 70 o del 80%. En un futuro, María preparará el Campeonato de Europa en Birmingham 2026, quiere volver a conseguir una nueva medalla de oro, pero sobre todo su gran sueño es ser campeona olímpica en Los Ángeles 2028 en la prueba individual. Es la única medalla de oro que todavía no tiene. Su gran meta será también su meta final, porque ahí acabará la carrera deportiva en el alto rendimiento de María, ya que a partir de Los Ángeles 2028 tiene su verdadero gran reto: ser madre.
Muchas gracias, José Luis. Impresionante, María Pérez. 2 other ladies came home with 2 medals in different events. Kenya's Faith Kipyegon first took her 4th 1500-meter world title, then added silver over the 5,000 meters in her first foray at the distance this year. Italy's Nadia Battocletti repeated her silver medal performance in the 10,000 meters, from which she had already done at the Olympic Games in Paris, and then she added a bronze over the 5,000 meters behind the 2 Kenya superstars. And talking about Kenya superstars, let's hear now from Kenyan journalist Lynn Wachira, who tells us not only about Beatrice Chebet and Faith Kipyegon, but all the Kenyan ladies inspired by these 2 fantastic athletes.
Well, it's the end of the 2025 World Athletics Championships here at the Tokyo National Stadium. Amazing 9 days of action, amazing storylines, amazing performances, national records, of course a world record by Mondo. But let's talk about Kenya now. Guys, 7 gold medals, 6 of them won by women. That's the hottest conversation happening back in Kenya, because this has never happened before. Where is it 95 or 98% of the medals won by women? But this has been incredible. And the question has been, what's going on with the women? What's going on with the men? Which I find very interesting because, men have been winning medals. Now women are winning medals. And most people wondering why. And here it is. Simple. Women now running track have role models. I mean, think about Faith Kipyegon. She is a big sister to almost each and every athlete who won a gold medal here. Think of Faith Cherotich, who won her first global title. Think of Beatrice Chebet, who became the third woman, only the third woman to win the 5,000 meters and the 10,000 meters double. All of them trace back their performances and inspiration to Faith Kipyegon. So it's a lot of friendships, like off the track, on the track. It's a lot of understanding that they have to do this together. It's a lot of learning from each other, showing each other the way. And technically, that's mostly what has done it for the women. Now, what else to talk about when it comes to Kenya? Historic performance, because the women again, we're not getting away from the women. It's the first time in the history of the World Athletics Championships that we have one nation having its women sweep all the medals in the distance races. That is from the 800 meters all the way to the marathon. How great is that? Having 800 meters won by Kenya, 1500 meters, 5000 meters, 10,000 meters, and the marathon all won by Kenyan women. It's definitely a new era, and I think the reign is going to continue for a while.
Thank you, Lynn. Indeed, remarkable Kenyan women led by the amazing pair Chebet and Kipyegon. So let's now continue our review of the special moments from the Tokyo Worlds. 6 countries won more than one medal in the same event: the US, Kenya, Jamaica, Botswana, Great Britain and China. Here are all the multiple medals by country. 100 meters, Jamaica with Oblique Sevilla gold and Kishane Thompson silver. That brought huge joy to the Caribbean island fans who saw finally their country's athletes back on top of the world in the 100 meters. In the 200, it was a double for the US with Noah Lyles with gold and Kenny Bednarek in silver. 400 meters, Botswana, gold for Busan Colin Kebinat-Chipi and bronze for Bayapon Dori. In the 110 hurdles, silver for Jamaica's Orlando Bennett and bronze for his compatriot Tyler Mason. Among the women, Faith Kipyegon, as we saw, took gold, and she was followed at the finish line by her compatriot Dorcas Ewoi. In the 5,000, of course, gold and silver for Chebet and Kipyegon. In the pole vault, also gold and silver for the USA's Katie Moon and Sandy Morris. In the heptathlon, again the USA with winner Anna Hall accompanied on the podium by equal third Talia Brooks. In the 800 meters, silver and bronze for Great Britain's Georgia Hunter-Bell and Keely Hodgkinson. And finally, Chinese athletes in the hammer throw, silver and bronze for Zhao Jie and Zhang Jiale. We now look at barrier breakers. So, of course, Mondo Duplantis with his 6 meters 30 world record. But there were other athletes who broke barriers, achieving world championships firsts for their countries. So Busan Colin Kebinat-Chipi in the 400 became the first man from Botswana to win a World Championships gold. The 21-year-old made a huge impression in Tokyo, taking not only the individual 400 meter, but also a second gold in the mile relay, which he anchored to victory. His 400 meter gold was also the first individual global medal for an athlete who had already helped his country to mile relay golds at the 2025 World Relays, the 2022 and 24 African Championships, and the World Under-20 Championships in 2021. Next, we look at Tanzania's Alphonse Felix Simbu, first Tanzanian athlete to win a World Championship gold. Now, he was runner-up in Boston this year and had already won bronze at the World Championships in 2017. In Tokyo, he upgraded to gold, the first ever for his country, taking the title with a dramatic surge in the very last stages of the race. We'll come back to talk about this amazing race later in the show. Then Ulysses Angulo, surprise winner of the javelin throw, first women from Ecuador to win World Championship gold. Just a few days earlier, race walker Paula Torres had become the first woman from Ecuador to win a medal, but then Angulo improved her PB by almost 3 meters between qualifying and the final, and took a really unexpected gold as all the pre-event favorites remained off the podium. Next, Alex Rose from Samoa, first athlete from his country to win a medal. He was bronze in the discus throw, US-born athlete. He was already a finalist in 2022, and he's also a polyvalent thrower. Back in 2013 at the Oceania Championships, he had won gold in the shot put, discus and hammer throw. Next, Julian Alfred, with her bronze over the 100 meters, became the first athlete from St. Lucia to win a World Championship medal. Now, Alfred, of course, had won Olympic gold in the 100 meters and silver in the 200 last year, plus 60 meters indoor gold, but she had finished just off the podium in both races in Budapest. That definitely changed in Tokyo, and she took 100-meter bronze before pulling out of the 200. Next, similar story for Thea Lafond of Dominica, triple jump silver, first woman from her island to win a World Championship medal. As for Alfred, it's strange to think that she had never won a medal at the World Championships, as she already had Olympic gold and World Indoors gold last year. But at previous World Championships, dominated by Venezuela's Yulimar Rojas, she had twice placed 5th in 2022 and 23. Now, Julia Paternain of Uruguay, perhaps the most surprising medal of all, first athlete from Uruguay to win a medal with her bronze in the marathon. Now, that was really something. The athlete herself was totally surprised. She only realized that she had come third when told by a cameraman after she had finished the race. Paternain, who was born and raised abroad to Uruguay parents and speaks Spanish with a Uruguay accent, was competing in only her second ever marathon. Then we have already mentioned Paula Torres, Ecuador race walker. Now the country has a glorious tradition in race walking, with the icon Jefferson Perez among other top athletes, but a woman had never medaled before. And Paula Torres changed that with her 35 kilometers bronze, and she almost repeated the feat in the shorter distance a week later, coming just off the podium in fourth. Now we need to talk about great comebacks, athletes who came back from injury to win another gold or to find a place on the podium. Ryan Krauser, shot putter from the US, is probably the most impressive. He took gold in his first competition of the season. He hadn't competed at all due to a persistent elbow injury, but came to Tokyo to clinch his third world title to add to his 3 Olympic golds. Let's hear from Krauser what this victory means to him.
This World Champs, I think, is probably the most special to me. Every World Champs is different, every Olympics is different. But yeah, this one was definitely, I'd say, the most challenging from a mental side, from a physical side. This is the first time tonight that I've really thrown hard since last September.
Then Kishore Walcott, javelin thrower from Trinidad and Tobago, he had accomplished an unprecedented feat in 2012, taking World Under 20 gold and the Olympic title in the space of a month. 4 years later, Walcott had taken bronze at the Rio Olympics, but the next edition in Tokyo, he had failed to even qualify for the final. Well, he came back to the city that had witnessed his disappointment 4 years later and took a World Championship gold 13 years after that Olympic gold at an event where he had never before made the podium. British miler Jake Whiteman had surprised Norwegian superstar Jakob Ingebrigtsen to take 1500 meters gold at the 2022 World Championships, but then suffered 2 years of injuries. In Tokyo, he was back on the podium, only beaten into second place in the very last meters of the race. And finally, Yulimar Rojas, Venezuela's triple jumper, who had dominated the event, taking the first of her 3 world indoor golds in 2016, then 4 world championship golds, plus the 2020 Olympic medal. She was a head and shoulder above her competitors, improving their world record twice to bring it to 15 meters 74. But in April of last year, she injured her Achilles tendon, underwent surgery, had a complicated recovery process. In all, Rojas had not competed for 2 years, and she came to Tokyo only thanks to the wild card which she had as defending champion. Now, while she could not add another crown to her collection, the bronze medal she won was very special indeed. And finally, let's talk about teenage standouts. Several under 20 athletes had entered the World Championships with high expectations, from 16-year-old Cooper Lutkenhaus in the 800 meter to Australia's 17-year-old sprint prodigy Gout. But in the end, just 2 teenagers won medals in Tokyo. Edmond Serem of Kenya, 17 years old, had been virtually single-handedly keeping up the glorious tradition of his country in the 3,000 meter steeplechase, with podium finishes in the Diamond League meets in Kochau, Rabat, Monaco and Zurich. In Tokyo, he was again the first Kenyan across the line, earning a bronze medal. Jia Zhang of China, 18-year-old hammer throw, had set 2 under 20 world records this year, 75 meters 14 and then a massive 77 meters 20 in less than a month. In Tokyo, she came very close to her world record mark with 77 meters 10 to clinch the bronze medal. And by the way, in the women's hammer, Anita Włodarczyk, now aged 40, was still competitive, throwing 74 meters 64, world record for over 40 athletes, to place 6th in the final. And now let's go back for a moment to the men's marathon, which, as we saw, produced the first gold for Tanzania, but the race was also very special for its stunning finish. Germany's Amanal Petros was savoring victory as he saw on the big screen in the final stages of the race inside the National Stadium that Alphonse Simbu was over 5 meters behind him. But the Tanzanian, who had already won bronze in London 2017, would not accept defeat, and he surged as the athletes approached the finish line to finally pip Petros right at the tape. Official time for both athletes is 2 hours 09:48. The official timing is by transponder and is provided to the nearest to the next second. Photo finish times show that only 0.03 of a second separated the two athletes. 2:09:47.17 to 2:09:47.20. Now that is less than the difference between gold and silver in the 100 meters, which was 0.05 of a second, 9.77 to 9.82. Amazing. Let's now check what were the top 10 performances at the World Championships by performance score. So among the men, by far, the pole vault world record by Mondo Duplantis, which is worth 1,350 points. Then there was an extremely high-level race in the hurdles. Rai Benjamin's 46.52 is also above 1,300 points with 1,309. Alison Dos Santos, 1,292 points. Abderrahman Samba, 1,281 points. And fourth placed Ezekiel Nathaniel, 1,278 points. These are all among the top 10. The 200 was also a very high-level race. Noah Lyles, his 19.51 in the semis. It was worth 1,298 points. He was a tiny bit slower in the final with 19.52, worth 1 point less. Kenny Bednarek with 19.58, that's worth 1,287 points. And third placed Brian Lavelle, 1,277. 100 meters, 9.77 by Oblique Sevilla is worth 1,287 points. 400 meters to excellent mark by Busan Colin Kabinat Shipi, 43.53 in the final, worth 1,284 points, and 43.61 in the semis, worth 1,278. And the 10th best mark, and the one that completes the top 10, is the sprint relay performance of 37.29 by Christian Coleman, Kenny Bednarek, Courtney Lindsay, and Noah Lyles. Among the women, the 400-meter hurdles was an amazing race. So Sydney McLaughlin-Levrone, as we saw, won that in 47.78, the highest mark among the women, worth 1,296 points. But Dominican Republic's Marilady Paulino was not far behind. 47.98 is worth 1,288 points. Salwa Eid Nasser also makes the top 10. Her performance is worth 1,279, and Sydney McLaughlin had already run very fast in the semi-finals. 100 meters, Melissa Jefferson Wooden is overall the third best women's mark in Tokyo, worth 1,288 points. Femke Bol in the 400 hurdles, 51.54, worth 1,283 points, but also second place Jasmine Jones had a very good performance, worth 1,266 points. In the 200 meters, Melissa Jefferson Wooden, 21.68 is worth 1,272 points. Then we have the 1,500 meter mark by Faith Kipyegon, 3:52.15, which is quite remarkable because middle and long distance races tend to be tactical events at major championships. That's worth 1,269 points. And Faith Cherotich in Faith Kidogo, as the Kenyans call her, Little Faith, her mark on the steeplechase is worth 1,266 points. Now, the Tokyo edition of the World Championships saw many surprising results. Let's view some of the most special ones in random order. Botswana's Busan Colin Kabinachipi, as we saw, had been winning aged category relay medals since he was 17, but he truly blossomed this year, setting world leads in both the semis and the final, a race he won with a dramatic burst of speed in the closing stages. The same scenario he then repeated in the rain-drenched mile relay to clinch a second gold. New Zealand's Jordi Beamish is not at his first surprise. In 2024, he had taken the world indoor 1,500 meters title, and now, having moved to the 3,000 meter steeplechase, he repeated the feat, pipping Morocco's double Olympic and world champion Soufiane El Bakali in the final meters of the race. The New Zealander was the first one to be surprised, declaring in the mixed zone.
Yeah, I never thought I was going to be a world champion once. To be one twice is totally surreal.
Now, the men's 1,500 meters was wide open after the two athletes who had topped the season's list, Francis Azedine Habs and Kenya's teenager Fanuel Kipkoskei Koech, had been eliminated in the heats, as had Norway's Jakob Ingebrigtsen, who had not been able to compete all summer due to persistent Achilles tendon trouble, while Olympic champion Cole Hawker had been DQ'd in the semis. On the strength of his impressive performances before Tokyo, the favourite seemed to be Netherlands' 20-year-old Niels Laros. The Dutchman led the first part of the race and was then never below second place, with 2022 world champion Jake Whiteman in the lead at the start of the home straight. But Portugal's Isaac Nader, who had never been in the lead pack and was only fifth at that point, unleashed a devastating kick. His last 100 meters was timed in 12.28 to surge past Whiteman at the finish line. Now, that France's Jimmy Gressier had much improved in 2025 was clear when he set two European records over the 5,000 meters indoor and in the 5K road race, as well as national records over 3,000 and 5,000 meters outdoors. He had also taken the Diamond League title over 3,000 meters just 3 weeks before Tokyo. Still, not many would have predicted his victory in the 10,000 meters in a race where he was navigating well behind 10th place at the bell. Now, we have already spoken about Julia Paternain's amazing feat, arguably the surprise of the championships, taking bronze at only her second race ever at the distance, behind two stars like Kenya's Olympic 2020 champion Peres Chepchirchir, who was also the winner of 3 marathon majors, and Ethiopia's Tigst Assefa, the 2024 Olympic silver medalist, and also a winner of 3 marathon majors. Now, 3 Kenyan ladies had all qualified for the 800-meter final, including 2023 world champion Mary Moraa and her cousin Sarah Moraa, the world under-20 champion last year. The pair were thought to have a chance to upset Olympic champion Keely Hodgkinson, who had been sidelined by injury most of the year, but had returned with convincing performances in Silesia and Lausanne Diamond League meets. The greatly improved Swiss athlete Audrey Huerro was also tipped to be a contender, but instead victory went to Kenya's third athlete, Lilian Odira, who had been in 6th place at the bell, but moved gradually up to 4th before also kicking very hard on the home straight to take the gold ahead of British duo Georgia Hunter-Bell and Keely Hodgkinson. Odira had only competed in Kenya this summer before one excellent international outing with a 2nd place in Silesia Diamond League. Now, in addition to taking gold, Odira improved the longest standing world championship record, which dated back to the first world championships in 1983 and had been set by world record holder Jarmila Kratochvilova. Mexico's shot putter Uziel Munoz had placed 8th at the Paris Olympics and boasted a PB of 21 meters 88, but few expected him to earn a medal in Tokyo. The 30-year-old improved his own national record in the very last attempt, moving into 2nd place with 21 meters 97, just 3 centimeters more than Italy's Leo Fabri, 3rd on countback, and New Zealand's Tom Walsh. Now, to conclude the statistical review of the Tokyo World Championships, let's take a look at the medal table. The US earned the Lions' share, 16 golds and a total of 26 medals. Kenya was 2nd with 7 golds and 11 medals. Then Canada with 3 golds and 5 medals. The golds going to Ethan Casper, Cameron Rogers and racewalker Evan Dunphy in the 35K. Netherlands had 2 golds with Femke Bol in the 400 hurdles and Jessica Schilder in the shot put. Botswana, the 2 golds we have already discussed, Busan Colin Kobinachipi in the 400 flat and the country's mile relay. New Zealand, gold for Jordi Bibesh in the 3000 steeplechase and Hamish Kerr in the high jump. Spain, 2 golds by racewalker Maria Perez. Sweden also had 2 golds with Mondo Duplantis and discus thrower Daniel Stoll. Portugal also 2 golds. Surprise winner Isaac Nader in the 1500 and veteran triple jumper Pedro Pichardo. Jamaica, 1 gold but 6 silvers for a total of 10 medals. The gold, of course, was Oblique Sevilla in the 100 meters. Italy also had 1 gold with Mattia Furlani and 7 medals overall. Germany 1 gold with decathlete Leo Neugebauer and 5 medals overall. Now 20 countries won gold, and an amazing 53 countries took at least 1 medal. That's a record, smashing the previous best of 46 countries winning medals, which had first been set in Osaka 2007 and then equaled in Budapest 2 years ago. The USA also topped the placing table with 308 points, ahead of Kenya with 118, Jamaica 98, Germany 66, Great Britain also 66, and Italy 62. I would like to end this program with a slideshow of some of the most beautiful pictures of athletes showing their emotions: joy, astonishment, celebration, but also relief and grit. One of my favorite photos of athletes rejoicing at their success is this one, where the women's sprint relay runners from the US, Jamaica and Germany chose to intermingle and celebrate their success all together. So a big thank you for all the photographers who captured these fantastic images, which you saw throughout the show. A special mention for Kirby Lee of Image of Sport, but also his colleague Kirk Mesh, Francesca Grana for FIDAL, Christelle Sane, Mattia Osbot, Dan Vernon, Eric Wu, Ross Turtletaub, and Birgit Dierich for World Athletics. And finally, a big thank you to the Japanese fans who created a magical atmosphere in the National Stadium throughout all 9 days of competition. Memories were created in Tokyo and will remain for us for a long, long time. So thank you, Japan. And we're already looking forward to China in 2 years when the World Championships move to Beijing. Bye, everyone.